Yo, this is MegaManFan, and you need to rock and or roll on over to Mr. MegaManFan's YouTube channel, because it's all that rush to make it happen. Peace!
Hey, Megamaniacs, it's Mr. MegaManFan, and I'm testing my latest batch of Nintendo Wii U games today on the Retro Hunting Adventures. As always, thanks to Mega Ram for that introduction, and thanks to the seller who sent me Ben 10 Omniverse 2, because the first copy of this game that I got from Amazon did not work. There was a scratch all the way through the paint to the surface of the disc, which means the data underneath it was completely trashed. Here's the irony. This copy, the second one that I bought, actually came from a public library, and no matter how many times it had been checked out of that library, it was in better condition than the one that I bought from the Amazon seller that said it was tested and working. This one was just as complete, but the disc was in better shape, and clearly, unlike that previous one, this one actually works. The biggest difference other than it working is that the checkout copy from the public library came in a plain DVD case instead of the blue. And that outer DVD case was pretty beat up. So I took a generic DVD case from my own collection that was empty and swapped it out just so the plastic cover around it would not look so terrible. I noticed Rene Auberjonois is doing the opening voiceover for this segment, so clearly he plays one of the characters in Ben 10. Don't know which one, but it's cool to hear his voice. I kind of miss him. I knew him both from the TV show Benson when I was growing up, and then later on in adult years from Odo on Deep Space Nine, so I'm quite fond of him as an actor, and it's sad that he's no longer with us, but his voice will continue to live on in so many things. Now, you may recall that Just Dance 2019 came in a mail call, but there was a problem with it that somehow, despite being a shrink-wrapped game, there was actually a hole punched all the way through the shrink wrap into the 2 in the 2019 on the front cover. The seller has promised to make good on that since I bought a shrink-wrap copy and can't really call it shrink-wrapped if it's been punctured in any way. But for purposes of just making sure this copy works, I'm testing it, making sure the disc itself wasn't damaged just because there was a hole punched into the case. And judging by the fact it's downloading an update to system memory, yeah, I think that's a yes. And thankfully for both you and for me, because A, I don't want to talk that long, and B, because you wouldn't want to watch it that long, I cut down how long this update took. But with the download and the installation, it ended up being well over 10 minutes, which, once again, when you get that much of an update the very, very first time you put a disc into your system, it begs the question, did they even put the game on the disc at all? It feels like you just downloaded the entire freaking game. Just Dance 2019 is a notoriously hard Wii U game to get anyway, so I'm glad the seller is making good on that, because if I'm going to spend that kind of money on it, I'd rather it be right than be messed up, because this is definitely not the kind of game you want to buy twice. 9 times out of 10 when you're looking for it, you're going to find a Nintendo Wii copy because they made so many more of those. It kind of makes you wonder why Ubisoft even bothered to make a Wii U version at all, especially this late into the lifespan of the system. We're now at the point where the only games remaining after Just Dance 2019 are things like Axiom Verge and Shakedown Hawaii. And if there are any more physical releases after those two, I will be majorly stunned. I think Wii U collectors, or at least North American Wii U collectors, can look at those two games as the end of the line as far as new titles they would have to pick up. I'm not saying it's completely beyond the realm of possibility that somebody will release a brand new Wii U game as a stunt, but it's going to be very hard to find a manufacturer who even wants to press up Wii U disc given the system requirements, the data configuration, and the small size of the print run. If you're going to manufacture a game for distribution, you don't want to make 3 to 5,000 of them. That's why companies like Limited Run Games exist, because if you're doing small batch print runs, they can negotiate those print runs based with certain manufacturers. But if you're going to the big boys like Sony and saying you only want 3,000 of something, they're going to laugh you out of the building. They're going to be like, we don't even deal with quantities that small. Get out of here. And that's why Wii U games just aren't going to get made physically anymore. And even digitally, I just can't see much point with an install base of 10 million for a digital developer to make games for that system. What are you getting out of it? How many copies are you really going to sell? The best you're going to see for Wii U on the eShop is probably shovelware, like mobile phone games that have been ported to the Wii U, or really low effort, just recycled asset games. Just flip that asset pack and make a game, and flip that level and add new graphics on it and call it a new game even though it's the same game. You know, the whole gingerbread man philosophy of game design. Anyway, here's Skylanders Imaginators, which I actually had complete inbox and unsealed the box and took the game out just so I could test it. And as you can see, it had an equally long install time compared to Just Dance 2019. But got to do it at least once at some point if I ever want to play it. And of course, I didn't take any of the other stuff out. I didn't take out the Skylanders toys or the quote-unquote portal of power, unquote. So the game is going to complain at me right away, saying, your portal has been disconnected. Because it always says that when I test Skylanders games, because I'm not really breaking out the portal just to do that. I just want to know that the disc works, and that's good enough for me. Speaking of which, the Smurfs 2, which I had to mute there because right from the opening title screen that comes up when you load the disc in, you get the Smurfs singing their theme song. Not interested in getting a copyright flag for that. I'm sorry, it's not worth it. Nor would it be worth it to have to go back in and edit that multiple seconds out of audio to have it be muted by YouTube to get the copyright flag removed. Either way, too much of a hassle when building this castle. Let's just avoid that drama. Save it for the llama. Why do I keep rhyming? Does it even have good timing? I should really stop. That's got to drop. There's enough. Let's leave that stuff. Okay, yeah, I couldn't even help it anymore. I just kept rhyming. I wasn't intending to. I'm sorry. So, the Smurfs 2 obviously works. This copy came with no manual inside, but given that I was at the tail end of the collection and I didn't even realize the Smurfs 2 came out on Wii U, I just said, screw it. If I get one in the case with a working disc, I'm going to call that good enough. I can be a completionist later on down the line, but knowing me, knowing with the Wii U, it's probably one of those games that didn't even come with a full manual, just an insert that said, you want the instructions, here's how you look them up online. Go to this website or scan this QR code, and you can get the full instructions for this game there, because a lot of Wii U releases came with just a simple sheet stuck inside like that. They didn't necessarily come with a full manual, and I'm not bothered by it because complete is whatever complete is. Disc and case are definitely the priority, and if something is obscenely expensive and I'm going to have to buy it again, I'm going to get it with the manual if it has a manual. I don't want to have to buy the manual separately, but other than that, it's just deal with it in the way that it comes for the most part. But I've had very few that didn't come with the insert or manual. I believe this one and Just Dance Kids or Just Dance Disney. And that's about it. Sniper Elite 2, Smurfs 2, and Just Dance. Oh, one of the Lego Batman games didn't come with it either. So Out of 166 games, that's not too bad of a ratio. I'm Mr. Mega Man Fan. Thank you for watching.